Yo, it's Zero, and today's video will be one that I've been waiting to do for quite some time now. What if Naruto was a god of destruction? We'll get to see the full story play out, as this is a movie. But before any of that, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, or you're just new to my channel. Without any more wait at all, let's get started.
Go, let's get it. I'm a trapping fanatic, that shit automatic, so I cannot turn it on or off. Bitches all on my dick, then she hop on my dick. I'm like, why you keep hopping on and off? Yo, bitch all on my dick, she be doing the most. I tell her, little bitch, she so extra. And my gun up on me, but not run up on me. Niggas, they wanna fight, they some wrestlers.
The story begins in the palace of Zeno, the king of all. He's bored right now, and one of them gets an idea to try out a new experiment and tells the other who would agree. They then call over the Grand Priest, who floats over to their throne. Yes, Zeno-samas? I'd like to create a new universe with the Super Dragon Balls, but I'd like a god of destruction to be selected from within that universe. The Grand Priest then gathers the Dragon Balls and makes it happen. This is how Naruto's universe was created. The Grand Priest and Zeno both, for hundreds of years, watch over this, universe, trying to find a perfect candidate to give the powers of a god. The time in the universe was sped up because the kings of all didn't want to wait that long, so this will help align the timeline better, in my opinion. One day, they noticed something is going on. It was happening on the planet Earth. The nine-tailed beast was attacking a village. The Grand Priest noticed the Zeno's expressions. They were amused by this planet. Lord Zeno-samas, would you like a candidate to be picked from this planet? The small children turned with the glow in their eyes as they would nod and be teleported down to the planet. They would watch all the events play out, which leads to the birth of Naruto Uzumaki. The two of them float over to the baby, who is all alone as his parents have just died. Zeno stares at the baby, who would stop crying when he sees them. The kings of everything would turn around to the Grand Priest and nod, as the angel would then bestow the powers of a god of destruction to the baby. But he won't be able to use it until he gets older. His godlike powers will grow with him, and they will adapt to the universe that he's in. The earrings of a god are then placed on the baby's ear, as the three of them would leave. The Grand Priest questions if an angel should be created for this new god, but one of the Zenos has their own plan. This is where they would travel to Universe 7. They visit the planet of the destroyer Beerus. Lord Zeno-samas, what a pleasant surprise, he says while bowing. The two of them then ignore Beerus and go to Goku. Hey Zenos. They then spun around him as they would begin playing, as one of them would ask, do you think Beerus is a good angel? Goku thinks about the training that they did, or the training that he did with Beerus, and his pure heart that wants to do good. Goku then smiles, putting a thumbs up as the three of them will then leave. Beerus then questions Whis on why they were here, and the angel explains that Zeno has created a new universe and he needs an angel for their new god of destruction. Beerus is told what he must do to raise this god of destruction. The Grand Priest and Zeno would then change his appearance to help him blend in with the humans of this world. Beerus then enters the Leaf Village, where he easily warps some minds of those within it to make them, he implants fake memories to make them trust him. He then goes to the Hokage's office as he requests to adopt a child. Hiruzen has him fill out the paperwork and takes him to the orphanage. Mind you, this is about 4 years after the birth of Naruto, so Beerus did do some training with the Grand Priest. He sees Naruto sitting there, and Naruto instantly turns his head, noticing Beerus. He didn't know what it was, but something about this dark-haired man stuck with Naruto. Unknowingly to Naruto, he was sensing God Chakra or God Ki from Beerus. Beerus was surprised that this child was giving off such an extraordinary pressure. Could his godly abilities already be activating? Beerus then tells Hiruzen that he'd like to adopt the boy right there, as Hiruzen was shocked, and so was Naruto. The paperwork will be finalized, and after, Beerus takes Naruto somewhere. They step into a very nice house as Beerus takes Naruto to his room, as Beerus would then close the door while looking at the boy. He doesn't know if he should tell him that he's a deity just yet, but Naruto then turns to him. "You're just like me, aren't you? I can feel it. We have the same power. I want to become the Hokage of this village, and nothing is gonna stop me." Naruto's expression then changes. "Not even you. Yes, we are very similar, but your abilities are more destructive than you may know." Naruto then jumps back and raises his guard as he begins talking to himself. How does this person know about that ability? I've never shown anyone in the village. Naruto then vanishes and tries to kick mirrors, but to his utter shock, the attack is blocked. Fast too. What else can you do? Naruto then throws a punch that's blocked, and right after, he holds up his left hand, as he then looks at mirrors, while his hand is in his face. Hakai! The purple ball of energy is then seen before a bright light covers the room, and Naruto lands on the ground dusting off his clothes. Not so tough after all. Well now, you certainly are extraordinary. Naruto then turns to see Mirror standing there perfectly fine. But how? That technique, it's imperfect right now, but I will train you to perfect it. Naruto then calms down and begins talking with Mirrors as he would agree on many of his ideals and plans that they would have. Over the years, the two of them would train, and Mirrors educates Naruto about this world and, no, not the universes yet, just about everything on this world. He then explains to Naruto that he was born very gifted and has access to abilities far beyond his imagination. One night, Naruto and Mirrors decide to go out as they travel to the Uchiha clan compound, where they see the massacre happening. Naruto didn't really care, he just wanted to know why they were being killed. Mirrors then uses his staff to explain everything to Naruto, who understands completely. What a shame. They could have been very useful to me when I become the Hokage. Naruto then walked around some more, and then they found a masked man. He tried to attack Mirrors, but Naruto stopped him, and then threw him through a building. Hey Mirrors, I'd like to fight him with no interruption. His father nods and places a box around the two. The masked man would try to leave, but his Kamui, it didn't work. Sorry, but you can't leave this place until I allow it. I figured you'd be a great sparring partner for the night. Don't worry though, I won't kill you. The masked man then would finally speak. I find it very amusing that a mere child would speak to me, Madara Uchiha, with such arrogance in his tone. Naruto kept stretching and then vanished. The masked man then had his mask taken off, as Naruto was seen standing behind him while holding it. You talk very highly of yourself, Obito Uchiha. Here, you can have this back, I don't really need it. I just want to see your face. Naruto then jumps away, and he tosses the mask to Obito, who catches it and then begins attacking Naruto. He is able to still use his Kamui in this area, but he can't use it to leave. He uses it to then punch Naruto across his face. Oh, so you have that level of genjutsu. No, you have that level of a dojutsu as well. I'd like to try it myself. Obito wanted to question this until he noticed the eyes of Naruto. It was the same pattern as his Kamui, but he had two of them for some reason. So, it was you who had the other Kamui. Well, that definitely does help the stories align. And that does save me a lot of time. Naruto then uses Kamui and gets rid of Obito's hand. Quite useful after all. Naruto then waves to Mirrors, who releases the dome. You can leave, I'm done with you now. Obito would try to attack Naruto, but this, well, while his back was turned, and then the boy turns around, choke slamming him to the ground, creating a crater. They never learn, do they? Naruto then leaves the area and begins talking with Mirrors about his performance in that short training exercise. A couple more years go by as we have a completely different Naruto. Everything about him was better, but now he no longer had the desire to become the Hokage. He desired a power above the god's realm as he does know about it now. While raising him, Mirrors admired how honest and pure Naruto was. Maybe raising the gods from birth was the right thing to do. Naruto really didn't wear his godly clothes, but he did wear Shippuden colors with a little more black than orange. He also knows about the nine tails within himself, but he just hasn't reacted to it yet. He decides to let the beast reside within himself. He graduated from the academy, top of his class. That night, Mizuki would try to leave with the scroll, but he would be easily killed by Naruto. The next morning, he's assigned to Team 7. However, this Team 7 will be different. Naruto, Hinata, and Kiba, with their sensei still being the same as Kakashi Hatake. Their sensei arrives into the room later, walking in to see Naruto looking out of an open window. He stared at Naruto for a moment, happy that he was his sensei, as the two have already met and trained together on multiple occasions. He takes the scene to the roof where they would discuss their goals. I don't actually know what Hinata's goal, or I don't know why I'm saying Hinata's goal and Kiba's goal would be, but I assume it could be something like this. Hinata would want to change her clan and maybe become her clan head, while Kiba would want to become a Jonin or the clan head of his clan as well. Naruto wouldn't explain his goal, just saying that it's personal. Kakashi understands this, and he would tell them where to meet up the next day. Before Naruto leaves his home the next morning, he has weighted clothing placed on him by mirrors to make his ninja life even harder. This way he'd be holding back a lot, but the payout is going to be amazing. Team 7 groups up and the bell test is explained. When the test starts, Kiba and Akamaru are captured because of how easy their movements are to read. Naruto then looks over the shy, dark-haired girl. Will you join me in my attack? All I need you to do is to try your best and I'll match your movements. She nodded and then rushed Kakashi. He dodges her palm and goes to strike her, but he's forced to block a punch from Naruto that sends him flying. Hinata was surprised by his strength, and Naruto would then not hurt. Let's keep going. Kakashi from his side sees a lightning bolt coming his way as he then uses Kamui to get rid of it. However, as he does this, multiple chakra points would be closed as Hinata was right in front of him. He then jumped back, spitting up a little blood, as he then noticed he couldn't hear the sounds of the bells on his waist. This is when he looked up to see Naruto giving the other bell to Hinata. Wait, when did he take the bells from me? And how could I not see him take the bells? Naruto turned back as he then saw the shocked expression of Kakashi. It seems even with these weights, I'm too fast for a regular mortal to keep up with. Maybe I'll create a seal for a portion of my power. But first, Naruto then turns to Kiba, who was tied up in a tree, and throws a kunai to cut him down as he would then fall to the ground. Kakashi then tells him that they passed the test, and Naruto would leave shortly after. As he goes home and begins working on a seal, and eventually is able to create one where his power must be contained. However, there had to be a proper vessel to contain his power so it wouldn't run rampant and destroy this world. Mirrors then has an idea as he takes Naruto to a separate dimension, and this is where Naruto seals his power. If anyone were to come inside this dimension besides the two of them, they would die just from the pressure alone. The two would leave, and Naruto instantly notices the difference. He sealed only about 40% of his full power, but even without it, he could still destroy this continent. Naruto begins his training to instantly perfect a bunch of his techniques, but with the minimum ki or chakra use. The next week, Team 7 then does their regular missions while actually training here, but Naruto never really trained with them. He would sit down and close his eyes, seemingly doing nothing to the rest of them. But what he was doing was image training. Mirrors was joining him whenever he was doing this type of training, and it would help him out a lot. Now, here, Kiba would be the one to ask for a harder mission, and he convinces Hinata to do the same. Kakashi would then turn to Naruto and ask what he thinks about this, as Naruto says he'll do whatever as long as it benefits his ninja journey. Kakashi then takes them to the office of the Hokage, who would then suggest the Bridge Builder mission. Tazuna walks in and looks at the team. Lord Third, you expect these brats to keep me safe? They couldn't even protect the hair on my ass. Naruto then steps forward, looking at him in the eyes. My team is going to get you to wherever you need to go, and you'll thank us. Judging our abilities while you are in the right state of mind will be your downfall. Tazuna then feels the overwhelming pressure of Naruto, as he can only nod, not even being able to speak within his presence. The next day, Team 7 would then depart from the Leaf and begin their journey to the Land of Waves. While they walked, Naruto could sense the chakra of two people that were watching them constantly. "Hey Kakashi, be on guard." His sensei nodded, and Kiba would then sniff the air, picking up the scent. Two people, one on the right and one on the left. Naruto jumps to the right and blocks an incoming kick, while Kakashi, Hinata, and Kiba go on the left. Naruto holds the ninja's leg after blocking it and then lets go, as a yellow-haired boy would jump back, and this ninja believes that he's scared of him. However, Naruto was just moving out of the way so that he wouldn't be hit from the oncoming attack. Fang over fang! The two spiraling tornadoes then slam into the ninja and knock him unconscious. Kiba then walks over to Naruto and they give each other a high five. The two of them then look back to see Hinata performing a 32 palm strike, as the two attackers then tied up shortly after, and Naruto pulls them together while Kakashi begins interrogating Tazuna. He holds up his hand while speaking. "I alone am the one who will pass judgment down as I see fit, as I myself had already been judged to cleanse this world and land. I deem your lives as unnecessary." Hakai. A purple aura surrounds the two of them, as they are then destroyed by Naruto. Kiba and Hinata saw this. They saw this happen, and wondered where Naruto learned this ability. Kiba, ignorant as ever, decides to ask Naruto, "Hey Naruto, can you teach me that ability? Seems pretty useful." "It's not something that I can just teach you. It's called destruction, and only those who have the pure desire to destroy can do it. And you have to have the desire to destroy for the greater good. If your will is not strong enough, the Hakai will consume you, and you will cease to exist." Kiba seemed terrified by this statement, but Naruto reassures him that he would never use it on those he considers friends, unless they gave him a reason. The group continues on, taking a boat across the water to the Land of Waves, where they would come across Zabuza Momochi, the demon of the mist. Kakashi tells his team to stay back as he takes his fight alone, and Naruto steps in front of his team and reassures Kakashi that they will protect Tazuna at all costs. His sensei then nods, lifting up his headband, revealing a Mangekyo Sharingan. Yes, a Mangekyo Sharingan. Due to his training with Naruto, he was able to reawaken it, and with some unknown help from Mirrors, Kakashi doesn't feel the strain of the abilities. He's free to use it as long as he has enough chakra to do so. Naruto then creates a clone of himself to keep watch over them, but he sits down to do more image training. The fight begins, and Kakashi shows off his real speed, blitzing Zabuza and cutting him across his chest. The Mist Ninja then tries to slice down, and he actually is able to slice Kakashi in half, but he's then electrocuted by the lightning clone, as the real Kakashi is then seen behind him. He closes his eye and then reopens it. Kamui. A hole is then formed in the stomach of Zabuza as he falls over to the ground dead due to having no organs left in his chest. Kakashi then transforms the eye back into the 3 Tomoe Sharingan as he pulls his headband back down. Kakashi walks back over to them to see the Naruto clone and the real one. Makes sense he'd train right now. Kakashi then tells the clone that he can vanish now. As the clone goes away, the group feels a high bloodlust. Ice then comes flying right at them, and Kakashi isn't fast enough to use his Kamui. Naruto's eyes jerk open as all the ice will be destroyed just by his glare alone. Team 7 turns back to see Naruto as he stood up. His hair and eyes had changed color, as now it was a dark orange, and his eyes would match. This was his own godlike state, as this orange would then flicker from a lighter to a darker, as this power couldn't really be contained. Due to his body and the Nine Tails, him being the Nine Tailed Jinchuriki, his godlike transformation has an orange kind of tint to it instead of red. Naruto stepped towards the masked man, a lot more serious than usual. Well, since I did just unlock this form, how about you help me show off a little? Haku sends more ice towards Naruto, but it melts before it even gets to him. That aura that surrounded him, it was insane. Not only was the pressure immeasurable, but the heat that was coming off of it was intense. Naruto appeared right next to Haku and then held out his hand. This time, his Hakai seemed even more powerful. So much so that it creates a large crater in the ground as Naruto is seen at the bottom standing still in this form while looking at his hands. I wonder what else this form can do. I wonder. Naruto then flies into the sky and begins charging his power. As he does so, Mirrors would then instantly appear and knock him out. The two would then vanish as Naruto wakes up inside the staff of Mirrors. So I assume that I released a little too much power, didn't I? Mirrors appears in the staff himself and explains what happened, and Naruto begins stretching. I predicted as much. Well then, I do need more training, isn't that right, Mirrors? No, my lord. I want you to master this form all on your own to see if you can do it. It'll be the first big step to you becoming a great destroyer. Naruto understands this and is released from the staff as he goes to the land of waves using his teleportation and then begins his own training, trying to figure out how to contain this power. But he figures he needs to master holding this form for as long as possible first. If this truly is the first step to becoming a great destroyer, he must master every part of it. Naruto transforms and tries to stay in this form for long amounts of time while containing his chakra. He does this for days while training, and Team 7 goes back to the bridge without him on multiple occasions. At first, it's normal, until Gato and his men will start to show up. But this is also when Naruto appears, after defeating the bandits that would attack the home of Tazuna while he wasn't there. Naruto then requests to fight alone. Kakashi doesn't want to, but he allows Naruto to do so due to the fear he has for him. Naruto nods while walking up. He enters his transformation, and the orange hair would then return. This pressure, it was different. It was more like a calm sea, but a terrifying one. And his aura, it doesn't resemble flames right now. However, within a second, that instantly changed. Naruto's aura bursted and created a bright light, as now, orange electricity swirled around his body, along with small flames. I'll end this one in one go. Naruto holds up his arms and then crosses his wrist, as this is something that Naruto has just recently found out that he can do. Due to his godlike powers being, how would I say this? They kind of morphed or mutated because they were bestowed on him within this universe that is pretty, you'll see. Godly constructs, Phoenix of Flames, a giant phoenix, then is created. As it passes through the bodies of Gato and his men, it incinerates them, leaving nothing behind. It then kills them easily, as none of them would be able to avoid it. As Naruto's power will slowly fade away once the Phoenix returns to him, but he's then seen with no shirt on. Mirrors, within the leaf, was watching this all go on through his staff. Not bad at all, Lord Naruto. In the next scene, the Grand Priest would appear before Mirrors. Hello, Mirrors. I'm just checking in on our next god of destruction. Lord Zeno-sama would like to meet him very soon. Mirrors would then explain how in about 2 Earth weeks, or for them it would probably be like 3 or 4 days because of the time in this universe, that Naruto will meet the kings of everything, as the Grand Priest would nod and he would then leave. Naruto and Team 7 then returned much earlier as they would register for the Chunin exams by their sensei. Since they do have some time, they spend a week training before the exams and Naruto works on his transformation. The day of the Chunin exam then arrives as Team 7 walks through the halls and Naruto is attacked by Rock Lee. He easily blocks and then forces the Genin into submission with his deadly bloodlust. They then leave and find the real testing room where Naruto and Sasuke would reunite for the first time in a long time. Neither of them speak as they both take their seats. At first it was a rivalry, but Naruto pulled too far ahead of him. The written testing goes on as usual, leading to the Forest of Death soon after. Naruto, he would wonder who his team will come across, but he decides he'll take this part of the exams a little more serious since killing is involved. Team 7 enters the forest, and Naruto tells the two of them to follow him. Naruto leads them to another team in the forest that's from another village. Alright, let's get their scroll. All three of them, four of them if you count Akamaru. Kiba jumps down and creates a clone of himself, and Akamaru transforms, fang over fang, three-eyed storm. The three tornadoes slam into one of the Genin, sending him into the ground, as Hinata forces her opponent to dodge and jump back while continuously striking, and Naruto begins slowly walking towards his. His opponent blindly rushes him, as Naruto just walked right by him. The ninja was confused until he saw all the cuts on his body and looked back to see Naruto holding a kunai that was dripping blood. Then, he noticed that his scroll was gone. He jumps back at Naruto to try to get his scroll back, as Naruto would dodge and then flicks his forehead, sending him flying through the forest. Hey, are you two done over there? Kiba and Akamaru jump out of a hole with a smile. Yeah, that guy's done for. He's still alive though, like you said. Hinata then stands back up after tying her opponent to a tree. Yeah, I'm done as well. Good work. There's no point for us to kill them if we can just take their scroll and instantly head to the tower. Within hours of travel, they would make it, and the preliminary matches are still announced, as the first match we would see is Sasuke versus Kiba. The two fighters jump down and instantly Kiba feels strange for some reason. There was something off about Sasuke. Naruto then notices the uneasiness of his teammate and decides to watch as he leans over the railing looking closer. Throughout the whole match, Kiba is dominated by the two Tomoe Sasuke that's being amped by the curse mark. The fight then ends with a genjutsu that would be placed on Kiba. The next fight, that has a change, is Hinata versus Neji, as this is where I think she would win due to her training with Naruto, Kakashi, and Kiba. She's just physically stronger and faster than Neji, meaning that she does land more critical hits here. The last fight that I'll go over for the preliminary matches is Naruto against the sound ninja that Sasuke fought in the original. Naruto jumps down and he notices Miras, who was attending, and waved to Naruto, and Naruto would smile. As the fight starts, Naruto appears right in front of him. He taps into a very, very small percentage of his power and sends his opponent flying into the wall. No, through the wall. As the remaining fights go the same, leading to the month of training that was given to the participants. When Naruto returns home, Miras informs him about the Kings of All wanting to see him. As Naruto nods, he's given a God of Destruction outfit. As Miras then changes his appearance, to which, it doesn't shock Naruto as he's seen it before. They then teleport to the palace of the Kings of All, as Naruto walks beside Miras, who floats with grace. As they would reach the throne of the Kings of All, Naruto bows and smiles. It's nice to finally meet you, Kings of All. The two Zenos float around the small destroyer. Whoa, look me, he got a lot bigger. And he's very nice. Naruto, do you know how to play? Naruto looks at Miras, who would nod, changing his outfit, as Naruto begins to play around with the two Zenos, and he begins showing them jutsus that he has. They do this for a couple hours until the Grand Priest stops them. Zenos, you must get back to work very soon. They would frown and tell Naruto to come back anytime he wants to so that they could play. But before they leave, Naruto then bows. Right now on my homeworld, I'm training to win a tournament. Do you know any good sparring partners or anyone I could learn from that isn't in my universe that I could travel to and train with? The two Zenos then look at each other as they would both mention Goku from Universe 7, as this is where Miras takes Naruto. They teleport to the planets of Beerus. Whis and Goku are shocked to see Beerus again. Oh hey Beerus, it's been a while. Oh, look at that, you're an angel for real now. Naruto then looks around the planet and notices Goku and Vegeta, mortals with God Ki. He walks to Goku. You're Son Goku, aren't you? Yeah, that's me. Would you like to spar with me? Goku accepts, and this causes Vegeta to get mad because they were just sparring. But the prince sits down with the gods as they start to talk while watching this fight. Naruto rushes Goku and is thrown around easily. This causes Naruto to show off the multi-shadow clone jutsu, and Vegeta wonders if this is the Yardratian technique, but Beerus explains how in Naruto's universe, or the one that he comes from, this is just a regular ability. Goku is shocked, but in his base he's easily able to keep up with Naruto. Naruto releases more of his power and begins pushing Goku back. This causes him to transform into a Super Saiyan God. The fight then goes back and forth until Naruto stops. Hey Goku, do you want to go all out? The Saiyan nods as he goes into UI Omen, and Beerus smiles at this as he puts a barrier around the two. Beerus and Vegeta question this, but Beerus points at Naruto. He then transforms, changing his hair color to orange, as Naruto then jumps at Goku, who dodges and kicks him away. Naruto smiles and keeps fighting with Goku with all his strength, but he would lose. The two then sit down after, as Beerus congratulates both of them. While they talk, Naruto says, I don't even think I could have beat you with all my power. Well, Whis would then explain that, he explains to the Saiyans who were confused that a lot of Naruto's power is sealed within another dimension right now. Naruto then asked Beerus if he was allowed to train here, but the lazy god would ask for something in return. Goku then tells him that Beerus really likes food, and this is where Naruto gives him some Ichiraku ramen. And for the rest of the month, Naruto trains with Vegeta and Goku, who help him master his transformation. He then returns to his universe and heads to the arena for the Chunin exams. Naruto here is fighting Sasuke, who here doesn't have the Chidori thanks to him not being on Team 7. The fight starts and Naruto is on the defensive, dodging Sasuke's attacks, and he begins to do it without thinking. And after he dodges a punch, he swings his leg, as Sasuke's Sharingan allows him to block it. He goes for an uppercut, but he's kicked in his chin, as he then sent across the arena as he sent skidding on the ground, as Naruto then stands there. But he wonders. Looks like this is not as hard as Goku made it seem, but I still can't get a tap into the form itself. I wonder how he does it. Naruto throughout this match embarrasses Sasuke, who couldn't hit him at all. He wasn't even using Ultra Instinct, but Naruto did understand the basics, due to him being raised by an angel. Naruto wins, and he goes to the semifinals against Gaara. The two fighters step down, and the match instantly begins as Naruto doesn't waste any time blitzing Gaara, and with one punch, he sends his sand armor flying off of him. Naruto then taps into his God Ki transformation. There was nothing different except for his hair color and his eyes. However, his aura was not present, and he seemed very calm. Naruto watched as more sand came right at him, but with the wave of his hand, he deflected it into the wall. Each time sand was sent, Naruto got rid of it. Then, he got behind Gaara and knocked him out. Suddenly, snakes burst through the walls of the village gate, and the attack on Konoha would begin. Naruto flies into the sky in his god state, as he then overlooks the village, and he's greeted by Beerus, who floats over. What would you like to do, Lord Naruto? I'm going to get rid of the person who started this. Beerus then explains how it's a man named Orochimaru. Naruto then nods and heads towards the Sannin. He comes face to face with Orochimaru and first questions his motives. Through their conversation, Naruto learns that the fear of death has corrupted his mind, and he decides to get rid of him. He erases him with a Hakai. This solves one of the problems, and after Naruto does this, he creates clones that go throughout the Leaf Village and help stop the Konoha Crush. Hiruzen meets with Jiraiya, who goes out to find Tsunade, and since there is no Orochimaru, let's say that she does accept the offer and becomes the next Hokage. This is usually where Naruto goes with Jiraiya because, well, they go on their time skip. However, this won't happen as Naruto hasn't met him. Naruto is taken to his own planet by Miras as he begins his real training there. Over the 3 years, Naruto masters every jutsu that was ever created, along with every chakra nature and fighting style on this earth. He then goes to get the rest of his power, and along with that, he would master it. Along with a few other things that I'll list now. He gets Ultra Instinct Omen, his own destroyer form, and he masters the Nine Tails, becoming friends with Kurama, which gives him access to KCM, and it mutates his god form even more, as it looks like what we have in the thumbnail. It looks exactly like that actually. Naruto returns to Earth and goes back into his village, as many couldn't recognize him. Instead of the destroyer clothing, he was wearing something a little different. He wore robes similar to the Sage of Six Paths, but it did have destroyer symbols all along it. He goes to the office of the Hokage and tells her that he will get rid of the Akatsuki. She was confused, telling Naruto that he can't do this alone, but Naruto vanished right from her sight. Miras then teleported him to the base of the Akatsuki, as he would then say, "Explain to me how you plan to achieve peace and to save this world as you claim." The Diva Path has the Akatsuki attack him, but Naruto defeats them all without lifting his other hand. Pain is then forced to explain, and Naruto disagrees with his motives. This will only create more war. He then destroys all the Akatsuki members, including Black Zetsu and Obito, as he takes the eye of Obito and returns it to Kakashi through Miras, who implants it, and he morphs his DNA even more, making him more Uchiha than Hatake. This way he could have a better control over the Sharingan. Next, Naruto removes all the tailed beasts from each village and planting them within himself and combining their chakra with Kurama, as well as reviving Minato and Kushina and talking with them for a little bit before getting the other half of the Nine Tails, essentially making Kurama the 10 Tails. He then has Miras keep all the former Jinchuriki alive. Naruto decides, to keep Kurama within himself, but the beast does have the power to separate himself if he so desires. Naruto then returns to his world. Miras, I'd like to have my own Supreme Kai, like Shin from Universe 7. The angel nods and takes Naruto to a different dimension, where the Kais or the Supreme Kais are born. Since your birth, your Kai was already born from your own godly energy to best suit your future ideals. Miras then takes Naruto over to a taller man who possessed the Rinnegan and looked a lot like the Sage of Six Paths from his world or the history that he's seen from him and from Miras' staff. Lord Naruto, I am Rava, your Supreme Kai. Nice to meet you, Rava. Let's go, we have much work to do. The three of them go back to the world of Naruto, where Naruto has Miras train Rava for 2 years straight. That way he can defend himself against very strong opponents. After, Naruto sends Rava to Earth to help them develop and find their own type of peace. Months later he returns having completed his mission, but he informs Naruto about the Otsutsuki clan. Naruto nods, understanding this, as the three of them first travel to the moon, where Naruto defeats Toneri and gives him an offer to become to become a Kai and serve his universe. Toneri accepts, and Miras grants him what he wants, the pure eyes of a Hyuga, which also grants him the Tenseigan. Rava then trains Toneri in the ways of a Kai, and Toneri explains his clan. Now Naruto travels to their homeworld that's in a different dimension, and he destroys all of them. Miras questions why he did this so rashly, but Naruto explains how all they do is destroy worlds all the time, with no regard for life, as this is why he had to get rid of them. They were a threat to his universe. Next, they travel to more worlds and come across many planets, as they then come across a very special planet. Planet Tantalus, the home of the Saiyans within this universe. Naruto immediately instructs Rava and Toneri to help him. These Saiyans differ from the ones in Universe 7 and in Universe 6. as they already had access to many transformations, but they were more pacifist, and they desired more knowledge than fighting. Naruto would visit this planet on occasions, as he found one person who was very interesting. After 1 year, Universe 13 looked completely different, which caused the Grand Priest to personally come and praise Naruto and his cause. Naruto then decides to take a visit back to Universe 7, where he finds Goku once again. Beerus was shocked. It's only been about a couple years for them, but for Naruto, it's been many years since the time in his universe is very different. But the small boy was almost an adult, as he looked completely different. He then told Goku that he wasn't here to spar, but he was here to ask a couple of questions and relay some information. First, he asked about the Saiyans within this universe and Universe 6, and then he nods. I thought as much. He then tells Goku and Vegeta, who was interested now, about the Saiyans within his universe. He tells them that the tails of the Saiyans grants them more strength and mastery over their primal powers, completely mentioning the Ozaru. Then, he mentions one Saiyan in particular that he's been keeping his eye on, Shallot. This Saiyan has access to forms above Super Saiyan 3 that aren't godly techniques or godly transformations. Goku and Vegeta are completely stunned by this, and they want to go meet this Saiyan, as Naruto tells them, that the next time he visits, he'll bring along Shallot so that they could spar. And before he leaves, he mentions a tournament to Beerus, as it will be a tournament for the Destroyers if they wish to participate. Naruto hopes to see Beerus there, as then the Destroyer would tell Naruto that he looks forward to it, as Naruto and Beerus would leave.